Hey, I'm Chris Finn and I'm a coach, and I'm going to talk to you today about the 3 principles. So the 3 principles are the best way that I know of that explains the human experience. So I used to work as a psychologist, and I was a senior lecturer in psychology, and I would be training these trainee students on how human beings work. Now, for me personally, I've always been passionate about how we work, and I've always been passionate about how do we get the best from ourselves and how do we get the most from life. And for me, psychology helped me a huge amount to understand how we tick, but it didn't explain everything. And for that reason, I started to become a bit disillusioned with the world of psychology. Like, we'd be working with people that were performing very well, but we couldn't get everyone performing very well. I'd be working with people that was really struggling, and there's certain things in psychology that would help some people some of the time, but they wouldn't help people all of the time. So if there's a tool or a technique that sometimes works, but it doesn't work all the time, it kind of indicates that there's something else going on. Now, at the time that I was getting disillusioned with the world of psychology and psychotherapy, I came across something called the 3 principles. And this blew my mind, because the 3 principles explains 100% of the human experience 100% of the time. It explains everything. So I'm going to take some time today to break this down in this video, and I really hope you get a lot out of watching this. So, the 3 principles was a way of explaining the human psychological experience, and it was developed by a chap called Sydney Banks. Now, Sid had what we call a spontaneous enlightenment, which basically means like he woke up to the intricacies of how our experience is made up in life. So let me break this down for you. There's 3 principles that explain 100% of the human experience that goes far beyond psychology. Now, one of the principles is called thought. Now, when you hear this, you'll probably hear the words thinking. I don't mean thinking, I mean thought. Now, thought probably isn't a very good word for this principle, because we have so much conditioning around what thought is. So let's use some different words. Thought could be replaced with the word interpretation. Thought could be replaced with the word relationship. Now, let me tell you what I mean. We have a relationship with everything in life. So if it rains, like it's doing right now, I have thinking about the rain. You could say that I have a relationship to the rain. If I say to you, oh, it's good that it's raining because the grass is dry, and us English, we like to say that we need the rain. But if I say it's raining and I'm going to have a picnic today, then my thinking about the rain is very different. This is the principle of thought. So what that means is we have an interpretation to what is. Now, we can't not have an interpretation to what is. In other words, whatever is going on in life, I have thinking about it. I have understanding about it. There's something over there, and I translate that through my senses and make sense of it. That's kind of like the principle of thought. I can't just see things as they are. I see my thinking. I see my interpretation. What I'm actually seeing is me making sense of something. So there is something there, but what I'm reacting to is my thinking about it. This is just how we work. This explains why you might have 10 people in a room and something happens, and there could be 10 different responses, or there might be 9 responses that are the same and 1 different response. That's because of the principle of thought. Thought is like the Play-Doh of the universe. It is the way that we create our experience. And we are able to do that because of the principle of consciousness. So consciousness is the force that allows us to be aware of what we're thinking. Consciousness is much like a blank screen, and we project our thinking onto this screen and then see our thinking reflected back to us. The reason that we're able to do any of this is because of the principle of what Sid Banks called mind, or universal mind. Now, universal mind is very simply the driving force of life. It is life's energy. It is the intelligence behind life. It's where we all came from. Now, I'm lucky enough to be blessed with two wonderful children, and I had a conversation with my wife where we both agreed that we didn't make them. Like, yes, we did something. I'm sure you know what that something is to to make them. And my wife grew our children inside of her. But we didn't do a lot to make them, despite what some people might say. We didn't do a lot to make them. There is an intelligence that happens all by itself without us getting involved. It is the reason that there's DNA. It is the reason our hearts beat. And it's not some weird or fluffy woo-woo thing. There is an intelligence behind life. The force of life, life force itself. In some traditions, they call it chi. We might call it spirit. I just call it the intelligence behind life. And that's what Sid refers to when he talks about universal mind. The universal mind feeds us. It gives us life. It gives us power, if you like. And then we become aware of our experience through consciousness. But what we're really aware of is our thinking. Now, again, I like to distinguish between what is and what is our thinking. So what is, what we might call truth, is what comes before our thinking. Before our thinking gets involved. That's truth. And then we form our realities, our personal and group realities, through our thinking. So if I say to you, oh, don't you think that such and such? That's me showing you my thinking. If you then agree, we have a group reality. If you disagree, we have different realities. Our realities are created by our thinking. Now, the implications for this are vast. What it tells us is that 100% of our experience, 100% of the time, shows us our thinking. And then our thinking leads to feelings, and our feelings lead to action. And our action leads to the results that we get in life. It leads to our performance. So if you want high performance, it's really helpful to see what is generating your experience of life. Now, the way that we humans work is we navigate life through using maps of the world. Now, these maps of the world are our thinking. So if I'm trying to navigate the Canadian Rockies like I was once, and I had a really bad map, I'm going to find it really difficult to navigate the realities, the intricacies of life, using a map that doesn't really match up to reality. We all have maps. The way that map looks like to you is the thinking that you have about yourself. It is your thinking that you have about other people, and it is the thinking that you have about the world, about life. Now, if you're like a lot of people I've worked with, including myself at times, if I've got the belief of I'm not good enough, other people are better than me, life is hard, I then develop a set of rules, a set of blueprints through which I've then got to navigate life. But if life is hard, I'm going to have to work extra hard. I can't take time off. I can't afford to relax. If I'm not as clever enough as other people, I'm going to have to work a lot harder than them. And then you've suddenly got my map of how I navigate life. These maps are then formed in our formative years when we're children through experiences that perhaps cause us some stress or distress or don't go our way, that basically hurt. And we develop these maps through how we live life, through how we navigate life. And when you see that these maps, they start to limit us, they start to cost us our freedom, our power, we start to get into tricky situations. We start to limit ourselves and we can't break free of our thinking, of our conditioning, of our programming. Now, the three principles and my background of psychology has helped me develop ways to transform people's lives so that they can be free of these maps that they've developed, their limiting beliefs, their beliefs that limit them, their programs that run them, so they're just reacting to life. My work is about helping people create a different experience, an experience of freedom, of power, of clarity, and then coming from that place, that inner place of feeling good, of feeling free, to then go about creating the results that you want to create in life and having fun doing it. So that's my understanding of the three principles and a little bit about how I mix that with my background in psychology. I really hope that's of benefit to to you, you can comment below and I'll respond to the comments. You can ask questions, and you can come and check out my new membership site at my website, chris-finn.com, and I hope to see you there. Much love.
We all live in our own world. We all paint the picture that we see by our own thought system.